Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so this man is in the ice plunge, and the space holder says, just breathe and you can get through this. And there's this feeling of strength. And yet if you if you really sense into it, there's something there that's like about being numb. It's like if I can be numb enough, I can get through, I can power through the 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 pain of being alive in this world. And the proposal for for the feelings informed space, or for this space that Stacy and I are creating, is something completely different, which is, what if you went towards the feelings? What if you were able to? Because most of us are not able to, because we don't have that structure, we don't have that practice, the programming about being able to be with a really big feeling and say yes, keep going. What else? To keep walking out farther and farther into, the galaxy, into out into that space, that empty space where I have no idea what's going to happen now. I have no clue where this is going, and I can keep going. I have my oxygen tank, and somehow I know how to regenerate this oxygen tank, and I can just keep going farther and farther into the 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 space of possibilities beyond what I know. So yeah, somehow this is what the feelings informed space is about for me, to discover in a place where I see clients, where I work with people every day who come in for all kinds of reasons. This feelings informed space, specifically this pilot, is for health and well-being practitioners, so it's going to be an array of presentations, but that there's a key in the relating with the client. There's a key that's only found out there. It's only found in the space where I don't already know what's going on here.
Mm.
And I don't know what all of you specialize in. I'm sure we'll find out at some point in this call. But there's there's this thing that I've been discovering in doing some workshops at a local hospital, where where the nurses and the pharmacists and all these people, they tell me that they have to keep this separation between their personal life and their professional life. They have to keep these things separate, and they cannot get that close to people. And then we do this workshop, and they experience their feelings, and they experience somebody else feeling, and there's this kind of empowerment that starts emerging. It starts bubbling in the space. We did a workshop the other night, and it was until 11:30 p.m. That's when hospital people can do things, because hospital people have the weird hours. But everyone's so tired, and we'd be sitting in the circle, and everyone would be kind of like, and then they would go out in breakouts, and they would be sharing their feelings with each other, and crying, and feeling angry together. And all of a sudden there'd just be this empowerment and this aliveness that would be happening. And then they would get back into the circle, and the reality of the world outside would just kind of hit them, and they would just do like this robot getting unplugged thing. But I brought this question. It was like, imagine imagine that you as a practitioner could go be with a patient, and you could also be opening your feelings. How empowering would that be for the healing process of that human, that they've been stuck in this hospital room for days, many of them, not being in any close contact with anybody, and you brought your heart to the table with them. What kind of healing that would offer to somebody? Because we have this, there was this fear. I can't put my stuff on top of them. They're already so sick. And it's just another story that we carry about why it's not okay to feel. It's just another offshoot of the core program. It's not okay to feel. And our minds will come up with any number of excuses, any number of reasons why we can't, we shouldn't allow ourselves to feel something in any situation. So these hospital employees, they think that it's just at the hospital that they can't feel. But when we started to go a little deeper, we found out that it's actually at home with their kids. They can't find a way to feel anywhere. There's always a reason not to do it. And the sort of the question that hangs is, what's the consequence? What is the consequence? And I don't know that there's an answer, universal answer, but everybody has their own consequence of why, what happens if they don't allow themselves to feel what's going on in each moment. So for me, I come from the healthcare world. I trained as a medical doctor, and at the ripe age of 21 years old, I had no clue what the hell was going on. But some deeper part of me felt a lot of pain about the training process. Actually, I was 20 when I started. And it eventually drove me out. I didn't know, I was kind of stubborn and a little bit um I don't have the word, but I was just kind of ignorant and stubborn. But and in a way I'm so glad about that, because there was a way that I just let the discomfort move me out out of the usual track, and led me to a journey of trying to discover what is healing really. 'Cause it's not happening here. I'm not seeing it happening here. Something is telling me that it's not happening. Some anger really, and some sadness is telling me this is not happening. And I came here for that. So I got to go somewhere else. I got to go somewhere else. I got to go find it somewhere else. And 10 years later, it's 10 years later. 10 years later, I'm now coming back, and I'm starting to we're starting to deliver this work in hospitals, and for uh, health providers and well-being practitioners. And this was Stasia's big impulse. Stasia called me and told me she was working on this project, and she had written pages and pages and years ago, and she called me to just ask for some help, and I said, I'm going with you. I'm coming with you. So I'm here for this the early stages, the beginning journey of this feelings informed training.
Yeah, thanks for saying yes to this crazy unknown path that we're walking on. And I say crazy because for so many people, you alluded to this, it seems crazy to, particularly as practitioners, because this is, there's two streams to this training. It's as practitioners to allow our feelings to come into the spaces that we hold and allow those to inform how we hold space for other people, as well as, and in line with, supporting the people that we work with to really feel what they're feeling, and that is information and energy for them to be empowered by their own feelings to guide themselves in a way through their own healing process. And this is a big part of why I was talking with this to a group of practitioners a couple of weeks ago, why it's, I think, potentially a challenge for some people to step into this kind of a way of working with people, because it is handing some of their power back to them that they want to give to us as practitioners. You're the specialist in this or that, and can you please fix my back, or can you fix this or whatever, and supporting people to really feel. And here comes another person, and welcome Sasha. um, supporting people to feel it's not just, yes, you're feeling something, let it come, and as Jeffrey said, we'll support you to get through that, because getting through it is kind of, let's get to the other side of that so that we can then live life. And that's not how it goes, because I think you already know this, but we're humans and we feel stuff, and they're here for a reason. And what I've learned, and what Jeffrey's learned, we've both been in similar trainings, and we've also had very different backgrounds and trainings, but that there's such wise and elegant is the word that comes, clarity to our core feelings, anger, sadness, fear, joy, that each have their own particular flavor. And when I started discovering this for myself in my life, anger wants to tell me this information and wants to help me to go or say no or say yes, and sadness wants this, and fear is this big information superhighway receptivity channel that's just like gets my nervous system buzzing and my whole body alive and helps me come into my body. There's so much nuance to feeling that I didn't know, and I feel angry about having been trained as a holistic counselor, because feelings were just constantly talked about, of course. Yes, it's important that we help our clients to feel. But there wasn't much more distinction than that. And there wasn't really anything about my own feelings. And I was just in a group before this call with a team of women who are holding space for me next weekend for Reclaiming Anger for Women training. And one of them was sharing how, I've got all this grief coming up at the moment, and I want to spend the next week clearing my grief out of my system so that I can really show up for this training. And I said, wait, hold on. It feels like you're going to try and get a bulldozer and shove your grief out of the way. And that feels really unloving. And what if whatever stage of grief you're at that point in time, is for the space? What if it's for the women that you're coming in to hold space for, not something you need to clear out of the way in order to hold space for them? And then the sadness, her sadness came. And for me, sadness is an indicator of a kind of coming home, or a love, a reconnection to self or space. So, yes, and this is, I mean, many years ago now, a fire started burning inside of me when I was in a doctor's appointment, because I had a whole lot of sadness come. I was afraid. I didn't know what was going on with the lump in my breast. And she was just asking me these practical questions. And it was like, I wasn't told to not cry or be afraid, but it certainly felt like it was being ignored. And I also get, when I've had conversations, particularly with doctors who have 15-minute time slots often, that there's a big fear to step into becoming feelings informed in your practice, because the story is, it takes so long to navigate my feelings and my emotions, and I don't want to have to bring that into the space. It's going to take a whole lot of time. But actually, once we build an intimate connection with our own feelings, the way that we can navigate that for others is just radically different. and the capacity to be able to discern the valuable information that then becomes part of the session rather than a distraction in the session, whatever it is. It shifts. And so there's this, it feels like learning a whole new language, the language of feelings. And I often refer to the language of feeling as a universal language because it doesn't matter what verbal language we speak, we all feel the same feelings. And yes, different cultures have informed how we feel or whether we feel certain feelings. You know, the Italians seem to be really, every time I have an Italian in my workshop, we were allowed to be angry all the time. Anger's not a problem, you know. It's more about how do I tone it down. And for other cultures, it's more like how do I get this thing to come out? It wasn't allowed to be there at all. And yeah, with these repeated experiences of feelings or emotions, and there's a distinction between the two of these that we'll be unpacking in the training more, which is a really big one, actually. I lost it. So yeah, go. I don't know, Jeffrey, you've got something.
I
I just
yeah.
completely lost it mid-sentence, so I'm just going to trust that.
Well, the going back to the workshops that we've been doing with hospitals, it dawned on us in one of the spaces that people come seeking help from practitioners because they're feeling something. You know, the reason people go somewhere is because they're feeling something. It's not because they're sick. It's not because they have a something going on. It's because they're scared about what's going on.
Mm.
It's because they're sad that nobody at home. I found this out at the workshop, and I was just floored about this. That this one woman said, "People come to us." I said, "Why do people come?" You know, they're scared because they think they're gonna die, and there's a lot of fear came. And then this one woman, really quietly, she's just sitting there in the corner. She goes, "They also come because they're sad." And I said, "What do you mean they come because they're sad?" She said, "Yeah, I mean, so many of these people, they just have nobody at home that will pay any attention to them. And so they come here because we pay attention to them. And it's that they're really sad. They're like just sitting at home really sad and they want to feel some sort of connection." And I said, "Wow, that just blew my mind. You know, I've never thought about it that way. I never considered that. I thought it was mostly all fear." And so I proposed that people only do anything when they feel something. People are not moved by their intellectual decision making. The humans are moved by the energy and the force of their feelings. And so I would like to hear from you. Actually, I'd like to open this a space to hear from each of you. Why, like with this context of people come because they feel something, like why do people come see you? What is the feeling that's driving them to come see you? And what what's the feeling and what is it about generally? Maybe you have a couple examples or um, a few different reasons. I would like to hear to get to know you a little better and what you do.
And feel free to just unmute yourself and go and trust your body. Maybe it's your feeling that wants to speak. Go
Hi,
ahead.
everyone. I work as an osteopath, and so people come to see me because they're in pain generally or have some sort of physical symptom that they are concerned about. So there's generally a lot of fear. There's sometimes anger in the case of chronic conditions where they're frustrated, they want the thing to go away. There can be some sadness present too. And I resonate with what you experienced there, Jeffrey, that some people come with regularity because it's a place where they have connection and where they're taken care of and listened to. I know that a few people that come to mind when you mention that. So that's, I think fear is probably the biggest one, and then anger second. Yeah.
And Emma, I have a second question for you because I know you a little bit, and I'm curious if you'd be open to sharing just a sentence or two about how has it been with your working with your clients since you've done some feelings work.
It has shown me that there is so much more to someone's presentation that I knew already, but I didn't know how to engage with. And so it's almost like I have tools for myself now since doing some work with Stacia to be present with my emotions and feelings and regulate myself and feel deeply within myself. But now it's becoming more and more acutely shown to me that it's just been happening very regularly, that there'll be an emotional component to a presentation, and in some encounters I have just experienced not knowing there's been fear of not knowing how to engage with them on that level, out of fear of doing it wrong or not guiding them safely. So there might be a little bit of a discussion, but it often, I feel like there would be more to explore there, or more tools to have to be able to support them. Yes, that's the answer to your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. I feel like it's my turn to say. My name's Tracy, and I am a holistic practitioner, a transpersonal counselor and psychotherapist, and I really kind of only the last year or so I've actually really sunk quite deeply into doing my work after bits and pieces over many, many years. So I feel like it's all about feelings. It's mostly about feelings. People come and they feel stuck and they've got, things going on in their body. And so I work quite a lot with the inner landscape, with what's going on inside. And just being able to connect with that, to be able to sort of release it through different processes. And I also find the nonviolent communication with the feelings as well, because people don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to identify the feelings that they've got. So I think just by actually giving them some tools to be able to identify, well, I'm feeling stuck, I'm feeling, disregarded or whatever it might be, it just empowers them, as you said before, Jeffrey. It's just empowering to sort of be able um, to have some words for it, but also to be able to sort of connect with the feelings and more like as an observer rather than this is all of me. And I think that's sort of the difference, is people get overwhelmed because they think that's all of them. When you can sort of start to see that it's actually a part. There's a part there that's might be wounded or unheard. And so this is the part that actually needs to be seen. And it's not all of you, it's this part. So that in itself is really empowering, and being able to work with that and being able to actually allow it to be seen and given a voice, and then it can actually be released. So it's not stuck in the body, so it doesn't cause the illness down the track. So I feel like most of the people that are coming to me now, I'm feeling sort of more confident that is, the way to move with them. So I do energy work as well. So that sort of helps to clear out all of that stuckness from the body as well. So yeah, so it's and also I think for me, when we are sort of going through our training, it's like, well, you're the therapist, and you sort of you don't sort of be who you are, like you were saying before. And I feel like over the years, I've actually broken that down quite a lot. So I've become more real, I've become more authentic, and I'm just able to relate as me. I don't have all the answers, but let's work on it together.
Mm.
And usually something happens through that. So yeah.
And one of the questions was, why do people come see you? Like, what are the feelings that are usually driving them to come see you?
A lot of it's trauma. I find a lot of people have had a lot, go on in their lives, and I find that a lot of people that are coming to me at the moment are actually sort of around their late 20s, early 30s even. So they're sort of going through this big, astrologically with the cosmos in the background, that would be your Saturn return. So that's sort of when everything just comes up to be, okay, what's going on? How do I move forward? This is not working. That's not working. How do I let that go? How do I move forward? And there might be a lot of stuff in there that they're actually wanting to let go of. So it's a lot of releasing old traumas, and working out how to move forward, how to empower themselves. How do I move forward?
So you're bringing up an important distinction in your sharing, which I'd never heard of until several years ago, that I started doing this training work, and Stacia alluded to it, which is the distinction between feelings and emotions, and the work of the releasing stuff is the work of releasing old emotions. That's what you're talking about, and the trauma. This is like emotions. These are old things.
Yeah.
And there's this whole other part of the emotional realm, of the emotional cosmos, which is feelings. They are different. They're different. It's a whole different landscape from the emotions. And so emotions are the stuck stuff, the old stuff, the trauma that you've been referring to. Feelings are the drivers and the impulses of movement in the now. And when I ask you, what feelings drive people to come see you, I mean, like Emma was saying, people I feel scared that I don't know what's going on with me. I feel angry because I don't want to have a broken down body. I feel sad because I want to be more in connection. I don't have that right now.
Yeah.
And so maybe I didn't give enough context or for the question, but okay, so someone has a trauma, but I know people who are 60 that have trauma, and they never went to go see somebody about it,
Yeah.
because so numb in a way that
Yeah.
they just should do anything. But and so you're a client of yours has trauma, and they're feeling something about the trauma.
Mm.
So do you have a sense of like what is it generally, or some
Yeah,
examples even?
that's actually opened that hole up a lot more, hasn't it? I think it's the frustration, you know, or the anger, or all of those things, as you would say, that are driving them to release what's underlying all of that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um,
I want to just add a
mm,
piece in about this word release as well, because when we release something, it makes it available.
mm,
You release something that's been held, and it's got space to move again all of a sudden. And often
yeah,
in this therapeutic context, the notion of release is get rid of it. And yes, stuff, all the old stuff that's been suppressed and hasn't been felt and it's been hanging around for decades, it's great that that can move through. And we talked about moving through before, that this isn't all about just moving it through and letting it go, but in the process of release, and what we traditionally know as releasing is also making available. So
mm,
when I'm supporting people to do anger work, and we're connected to old emotional stuff, and finally it's got space to express and sound and move, our bodies are also getting the experience of holding a bigger charge of anger energy at the same time,
mm,
which means that when I feel anger in the future down the line, I can be more relaxed in that, because my body knows how to feel anger. My body knows how to feel lower levels of anger and higher levels of anger, rather than um, I'm just going to release it. I had it and it was hidden, and then I found it and I release it, and as opposed to I befriend it. And it's it feels like a really important piece as part of this training as well, that it's about inviting them in, and not just the release. And of course, when it comes to trauma, it's valuable to not hold on to a whole bunch of stuff. And in the process, we're training our systems to navigate with these feelings at the same time. Yeah.
mm.
Mm.
The way I picture it often is that my body is like this village, and parts of me got put in prison in the village, because the village decided, based on the contexts and the culture that I developed growing up, this is not okay. So my anger's not okay. My anger's in prison in my body.
Mm.
And the work is to release the anger out of the prison. And the prison is made up of the stories. Anger is violent, anger is aggressive, anger is this or that or the other thing. And pulling the bars out one at a time through these processes, to then have access to because the anger has, it has these emotional components, which are these outbursts and these unconscious outbursts essentially. And there's this other part of the anger, which is the driving force for me to take action, for me to go do something, for me to seek out a different to speak up, to say, this is not okay for me. I want something else. It's driven through the energy of my anger. And so the releasing is the releasing it out of the prison and back into circulation to support me in my life. Yeah. So I hear, when I hear the release word, that's what I hear people saying is, I want to release it from the purgatory that I've put it in.
someone else have?
Is it Jean-Marc? Jean-Marc. I want to hear from you.
That's correct, Jean-Marc. Very good.
Jean-Marc.
Hi, everyone. I had a bit of trouble getting on before. Look, I used to be a transpersonal counsellor, like Tracy, but I'm retired now, so to speak. So I find that I can speak mostly about my own personal experience with feelings and emotions now. And it's a very sort of nebulous area in some ways. It's not like the cognitive mind where everything's sharp. And the cognitive mind doesn't really recognize, can't see them anyway. It can't see what's underlying. So I find one of the first things is that people they have an issue and they come in because of a particular issue, or they have a confused feeling, something's not right. And that's difficult because there's many ways in, there's a few ways in. And I'm not sure what you want to hear from me, seeing as I'm not doing it anymore. But when I'm working as a casual for the Salvation Army in their stores, and what I find is that people nowadays, there's not a lot of listening going on. People, well, maybe not nowadays, maybe it was always like that. But when they find someone who listens, which applies to therapists, a therapist, doesn't matter which profession, what type of therapist, being listened to, as Tracy would probably recognise, is a way into healing. I'm not sure if you want what else you want me to say, sorry.
Yeah, you opened a doorway. I would like to walk through it a bit. Go ahead, or finish. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Stacia and yourselves, I forget what you brought up about feelings and emotions are what motivate us, give us the passion or take it away. And Stacia made a comment about something, but it slipped my mind. I really can't add much. But yeah, being really listened to is important in all these things. And learning, and there's layers, the feelings and emotions, there's layers below them, as you all know, I guess. So a person can be really angry, but there's that sadness underneath. But if you peel the onion, there's layers, and we don't know how far the layers go down. From personal experience, I don't know if we ever find a cure. It'll always be we heal as much as we can. Is there anything else you'd like me to add?
No, well, you opened a door, which is, you said that the territories of feelings and emotions are not clear. The cognitive mind can be very clear. And you're right in a sense, because our training growing up was 90% intellectual and about -2% emotional. 2% emotional. So of course it would be nebulous. It's like if I put you out on a baseball field, and you guys over there don't play baseball, so you'd be like, what the hell is going on here? What are these innings, and there's strikes, and I don't, what is this? I play cricket.
I've seen a lot of TV. I know what baseball is.
Okay, whatever, something else. Anyway, this is how it goes for us, because we didn't have any training growing up, and we had, you went to school for 8 hours a day for 20 years. Your mind is sharp as hell. You trained at ninja status. We're expert mental body humans. And the heart, which is the source of the emotional body, is hungry and confused because it did not get nourished, did not get the time and the effort and the energy. So in a way, this training is just to say, okay, I didn't get the nourishment for years and years. What do I do now? Okay, so let's start.
Yeah,
I don't know how.
I didn't, when I said nebulous, it wasn't with a negative connotation. It was just the cognitive mind in some ways, I don't want to oversimplify it, is a tool which allows us to navigate, to move around, but it's the emotions and feelings which are the source or the bulk of who we are.
Yes.
And up here, I call this a cognitive because, we see it. But that is, it is the tool of the unconscious, the shadow, whatever, the feelings, emotions that come from that, and so on.
Thank you.
Something like that.
It will always be, the emotional body will always have this kind of mystical sense about it because it is so nonlinear, and it will surprise you, and it will surprise the mind.
It's a mysterious area, yeah.
And I mean, I've gone through the experience myself, and this is what this space is for, is to get new kinds of clarity about how to navigate in that, have some sort of skill. A jungle guide will never subdue the jungle, will never control the jungle or be an expert. It's always renewing itself, and yet the jungle guide can take people in there and be with them, and that's what we're proposing in a way here, is to take steps in becoming a jungle guide of the emotional body, the emotional jungle. So thank you for bringing that, because it's a super important thing to acknowledge about what kind of humans have we trained ourselves in this culture to be, and what are the consequences of that?
This connects me to when I first came into contact with a body of work that showed me a different lens on feelings than what I'd learned as a holistic counselor. Because up until that point, I had, you mentioned NVC, Tracy, and I had NVC printed lists of feeling words. There was like 5 A4 sheets of paper on my wall with all these words, so that my clients could find this specific right word for what it is that they're feeling. And then I came across this other concept, that there's 4 feelings, 4 core feelings: anger, sadness, fear, and joy. And I fought this. Like, no, there's not. I've got all these words. All of these words are all the feeling words. And this is something we're going to explore throughout the training. But and it comes up because you spoke about this nebulous quality. And at the same time, while there's a nebulousness to the emotional body and to our emotions, there's also this brilliant clarity. And what I discovered is that these core feelings are kind of like the primary colors that make up all the colors in the rainbow. There's 3 primary colors, and black and white. And you mix them together and you use them in different combinations, and they make all of these different colors. And it's the same with our core feelings. And when you Google core feelings, you'll get, disgust and shame and a couple of other words that come in to that. But there's these pure archetypal feelings, and to be able to really identify them in the body, and then at what scale are they showing up, and is it feeling or is it emotion, and then having tools to be able to work with those, it brings a clarity to this, what can feel like chaotic feeling space that I've never had before. And I had a clinical psychologist come to Reclaiming Anger a few years ago now, and he was totally blown away. He's like, oh my God, in 7 years of training, I have not had clarity of how to work with feelings and emotions, or this distinction, or what to do with them. And it's amazing. My work with my clients has changed, and he came and did private sessions with me, and now he sends clients to my feelings trainings, and he works differently with his clients because of that. And I love that. I love that. And I feel, I love that that worked for him. And I feel angry that in 7 years of training, there wasn't clarity around how to identify what someone's feeling and then work with them. And I just wanted to speak to your question, Vicky. Maybe is the answer.
I have a question for you, Vicky. So every communication, this is one of the distinctions about in this field will be offered, is that every communication has an energy, a driving force. And so your question has a feeling. Those driving forces are one of the 4 feelings: anger, sadness, fear, and joy. And so you brought this question, are we going to do a practice here? And it has a feeling, and I want to know, what is the feeling?
I just like soaking everything up like a sponge. I just love learning. So it's great to talk and discuss things, but it's great to have that experiential, practical exercise as well. Just to get a touch of the experience.
So Jeffrey
Does that make sense?
So this might
Jeffrey is just opening the
this might
door
be
for that for you right now.
yeah, I was for your to answer or to have a practice right now, which is, what is so you have 4 options to choose from: anger, sadness, fear, and joy. This question, like, are we going to do a practice? What is the feeling? And I'm getting a sense that some of you are already catching this. I see little smiles as like, I get what's going on here. And so if it was one of those 4 that's driving your question, which one is it?
Yeah, that's really difficult to answer. I guess I'm not very embodied and can feel quite numb to feelings. So yeah, so that's probably where I'm coming from. So yeah.
Okay, do you have a piece of paper with you?
Yeah.
Can you write down these 4 feelings? Anger.
Oh, I have. Yeah, I'll do it again.
Okay, so look at them really quickly on the paper, and just without knowing, without trying to use your mind, which is the first impulse, which is the feeling that is driving this wanting for a practice?
I would actually say sadness, because I'm not very embodied, and at this age, and to articulate those feelings well is very difficult for me. So I feel like it's an alien place. So probably sad. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that.
And I want to make a reflection, if that's okay, Vicky. So I heard a different feeling. And what I heard was like, and I'm going to exaggerate a little bit, just, so it comes into the space more. Are we going to do a practice? Like, I really want to do a practice. And I could feel this in a way, kind of an aliveness to want something to be different. And behind this, could you see what it was when I did that?
No, sorry.
It's okay. So what I saw was
You
anger.
have to exaggerate it a little bit more. Exaggerate it a little bit more.
I want to do a practice. Are we going to do a practice? What do you see?
I should have said please, sorry.
No, forget that. Let go of that story. Come back to the question. What did you see when I just did that? Anger, sadness, fear, or joy?
What, from you?
Yes.
I don't know. I've not really thought about it. I'd have to process it. Yeah, I guess I've not jumped straight to a feeling. Mm.
So hold on. This is very clear and very direct and simple. It's you have a sensor in you that works to detect feelings. So Stacey, would you do it one more time? Just really just look and let it's very clear. Go, can you do it one more time,
Let me just
Stacey?
move that bar. There's a bar there. Right. Okay.
Yeah, and before you
That
do
one, yeah.
that, like I invite you to just connect to your heart, out of your head and into your heart more. And
Yes.
what I saw was an exaggerated form. Are we going to do a practice? I want to do a practice. Can we do it? Are we going to do a practice? And I want to be clear, that's not how you did it. I'm exaggerating. Which of those four feelings do you notice right now? Trust your gut. Trust yourself.
Um, Looking at you and your exaggerated gestures, like anger, like, yeah,
Yeah.
but it, I didn't sort of, I didn't feel the anger in me.
Yeah. And that's okay because we've got, Jeffrey spoke about this before, we've got these programs and imprints around what these feelings are that are really different to what they actually are for. And when you first said, "Oh, I don't know," my sense was that you maybe can't allow yourself to speak that you felt angry, that there was anger there. And there's some
That would
steps
be a very
before that.
dangerous territory.
Yeah.
It'd be very dangerous territory for you to say, I feel angry for whatever reason. Does anybody else know what I'm talking about? That it's dangerous to say I feel angry. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And this is in a way, you demonstrated beautifully, and it was in a writing form even. Low level anger.
Oh, I thought it was just a question. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it was a question, and it's not to be apologized for. Like, this is what anger is for. Like, oh, an impulse comes up. I want something to be different. I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to say what I want.
Yes.
This is what anger's for, to say what we want.
Yes.
Yes. And so, anger, Jeffrey and I have been using anger as fuel to bring distinctions into the space, to bring our voices into the space, to hold space this whole time. And it might be a bit of a glitch to the program in a way, or a big glitch in the program of what we think anger is and what we think fear is. Because we're so used to anger being this violent, destructive, war creating, conflict inducing fuel, which it absolutely can be when it gets shoved down and shoved down and shoved down, and we get told that our feelings aren't okay and it's not okay, and we keep shoving it down. And then we've got this ball of fire inside of us that bursts out, and we wonder why it's happening. We wonder why we can't keep it all in, or we wonder why there's so much destruction, because there's such an unhealthy relationship with anger. But when we allow some of this old stuff, that the trauma to release, so to speak, as we were saying before, and come into a really beautiful, loving relationship with anger and its ferocity and its clarity, then we can use it at lower levels to just ask for what we want, to say no when we mean no and to say yes when we mean yes, rather than to sort of fold into the people pleasing, apologizing part that needs to be something that we're not for others. Yes, Jean-Marc, you're on mute.
Yeah, so we're looking at a broader definition of anger. Like the standard definition of anger is, like you said, it's a violent thing. And you're angry at somebody in the group here, or it's not really about that necessarily. So it might be, maybe I missed it somewhere, but the definition of anger, or how we see anger now, is being broadened to not just mean violence per se.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Mm.
And I want to 1 second, Tracy. I want to honor your anger and the question that you brought of, are we going to do a practice? And I haven't consulted with Stacy about this. There's some fear there, but it's to experience very simple low level anger here in the space together. And there's a tool for connecting to one kind of tool for connecting to your feelings, which is using the phrase "I feel blank because." So I feel mad, sad, glad, scared because. And so I'm going to open this space for you all to remove the mute from your devices, and just go popcorn style and say, from the very small right now, I feel angry because, and discover what your anger has for you and for the space. So anger, in the broadened definition, Jean-Marc, is anger and all the feelings are a source of nourishment for a group. They're a source of information and possibilities and clarity. And so I invite you to take your mute, turn your mute off, everybody. And it's going to be a little bit chaotic, and that's okay. And just go one at a time and really just sense into when it's your time to go. I feel angry because, from the now.
I feel angry because I've been sitting still and my body wants to move more.
I feel angry because I don't understand the differentiation of the subtleties of the feelings under anger put into one thing.
Thank you. I feel angry because I want to hear more people's voices.
I feel angry because I tend not to speak.
Thank you.
I feel angry because I want to do something with this personally, hearing all this.
I feel angry because I'm uncertain as to where this is going.
I feel angry that anger has gotten such a bum rap, and it's wow.
Go. There's another one. Go. Keep going.
Oh, I feel angry that we can't, we keep our voices down, and that I've kept my voice down, and I feel angry at seeing other people keep their voices down.
Yes.
Yes.
Feel angry that we're not taught this when we're little.
Me too. Yeah, let it come out, Tracy. It's right there.
Stacey, was that meant for me? You wanted me to speak?
I saw Tracy's mouth move a little bit, and
Oh,
it felt like
Tracy.
I said, let it,
Sorry.
I just said, let it come out, Tracy. But if
Mm.
something there, then go.
Okay, so now I've processed this. I wasn't being authentic. I was in fear because I didn't want to speak about myself. So I thought, what intelligent question can I ask? Oh, let's see if they're going to do a practical. Yeah, so it actually came from fear. Mm.
So wait, Vicky, wait. Just try it out. I feel angry because.
I wasn't authentic.
So wait, just say the whole thing. It really makes a big difference. I feel
I
angry
don't feel
because.
angry, but it's about
Wait,
anger.
wait,
Go on.
wait. There's always an anger, and there's always a fear, and there's always a sadness, and there's always a joy, and if you allow yourself the possibility to just say the words, I feel angry because, you might find out things about yourself that have been waiting to just come out and say hello.
I feel angry because I do not have a flourishing practice. Hmm.
Is there more?
Thank you.
I guess no. No.
I want to just speak quickly, Tracy, when there was this thing building, it was amazing, and I could feel your breath being stronger, and your body was standing taller. I don't know, did you notice that? You were like, like there was this something that was just ready to blow through, and this is this thing of, it's not actually so confusing, and it's not actually so mysterious. You can tell when the anger is coming up, and there's this kind of dignity and this integrity and this, like, okay, something needs to be said now, and I need to say it. Would you say what it is, Tracy?
I feel angry because I do hold back. And sometimes I don't even understand my feelings enough to be able to say what I'm feeling, because there's a lot going on, many things.
Thank you for owning that.
Yeah.
And for feeling your anger about that.
And often when the anger is allowed to flow, or any of the more difficult feelings are allowed to flow, then what comes behind it is joy. I finally said it. You know, I finally allowed myself to feel it and say it. Yeah, there's a wholeness.
I feel angry because I have to release some rigid patterns of belief in order to accept a new belief.
Yeah. That's significant.
Yeah, and that's okay.
And clear, super clear.
Yeah.
Clear instruction.
What's the one that would be relief? Joy?
I mean, the amazing thing about this is, all of us have anger, fear, sadness, and joy. All of us have this body. All of us can discover the answer to a question like that in our body. That's the most amazing part about all of this, is like, we have the test subjects are here. So you can just go, it's like, oh, and I feel relief, like, what feeling is that? And just experience, like, give yourself the experience of relief in your body, and see where it maps for you. It might be different for somebody else, actually. But for you, it's, yeah, it sounds like relief is in the territory of joy. For me, joy is about a kind of feeling, a kind of wholeness. Like, yeah. God, this is so much fun. Anybody else have anger that they want to put in the space? This is really, you're really feeding the space with these amazing impulses.
I think when Vicky talked about her thing, it set off my anger. Like, I picked up my anger at being overly concerned about people's opinions of myself, and how that just holds me back from moving forward. And I can sort of see that moving that way. Yeah, that brought that up for a little while. Yeah.
Anybody else feel angry about caring so much about other people's opinions of you? Seems like you're tapped into the field, John Mark.
So this is like what we're doing now is, in a way, is the first step in the training, is you connecting to your body, to your feelings, to what's alive in you, how to identify it, how to communicate it, to work with each other, to support each other to do that. Because you can't support your clients to be feelings informed if you're not feelings informed yourself. That's the first step. Oh, this is what I'm feeling. Oh, this is what anger can be as well. Oh, wow, here comes joy. Oh, this is my feeling cycle. This is how my fear shows up. This is how my anger shows up. I ping pong between fear and sadness, fear and sadness, fear and sadness. I don't have very much anger. Okay, where's my anger gone? How can I bring that in? How can we support each other to be in I want to say, relaxed relationship with your feelings, and dance and play with them. And we'll be doing that with each other as we're doing now.
And as we go through the journey, you will discover some of these blocks. You'll discover some of these old stories, old beliefs, the sort of the bars of the prison cell that are holding some of your feelings. And at that point, you can ask for what's called emotional healing processes, or processes where you would go deeper in there and discover where did this start? Where did you as a 3-year-old, 5-year-old, whatever, you said, I can't feel this. It is not okay. I will never feel this again because it's too dangerous. And to go back there and complete what was incomplete, what was left incomplete. Because really an emotion, what it is an incomplete feeling. You were feeling something and you needed to express something, and nobody heard you. Nobody was there to say, yes, that is so. And then you said, I can never do this again, because if I do, then I will ... I will die, essentially. I will be unloved. I will lose my parents. I will whatever. So part of the journey is also, it opens up these doorways for you to go back there and finish things that were left unfinished. And we hadn't talked about this before, but my one of the things that I see as a possibility is that then you also become capable of holding that kind of space for other people, including your clients, that you could become somebody who could hold space for someone to go complete something that was left incomplete. And that it would also be some sort of tool in your toolbox. I hope I didn't go too far, Stacey. I'm sorry. This inspiration is really coming through about all of this. I feel it's so alive in this space since we started bringing up the feelings. It's just that's this amazing magic of bringing feelings, allowing feelings to be bigger in the space.
Yeah. And you know, we're raised, most of us were raised by parents who weren't taught how to feel either. And so they shut our feelings down in a whole number of ways, whether it's ignoring it or whether it's completely blatantly saying, don't be like that, go away to your room and come back when you're nice and normal. And then we have this really warped sense of what feelings are. And then we go into practice with clients and in a way do what our parents did to us with our clients, even though we don't know we're doing it. You know, we're holding a space that says with our mouth and our words, yes, come and bring your feelings. And at some point, someone brings their emotional charge. And on the inside, we're saying no to it. Even on the outside, we're saying yes to it. And so and then it creates a confusing context and space that we're holding for the clients that we're working with, and wonder why we don't have many clients, or they don't come back, or we're left exhausted at the end of it because we're kind of at a conflict within ourselves. I'm aware we have 14 minutes left before our end time. And I want to open a space if there's any questions about the training that you have burning right now. And it could be that there's a feeling behind your question that you can lead with.
Vicky's got a couple, I think. I could just see it. Good. Okay.
For me, there is some fear coming up around knowing, so the anticipatory fear of knowing, well, will this training guide me to a place where I feel, where I have confidence in guiding other people to do that within the therapeutic space. And also there's fear that's coming up in relationship to how do I bring this into the therapeutic osteopathic space where people generally come in for body-based issues. You know, am I overstepping my professional box? which we drilled with when we were at uni. You know, your scope of practice, da 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 da. This is if someone comes in with feeling stuff, you have to refer them to a psychologist or psychotherapist, or you know, whoever is trained in that. Yet I see that the space opens up over and over and over and over again. And for me, there's a fear of kind of like stepping in that and then maybe being lost or not knowing where to go.
Yeah, it's a really great number of questions in a way that you brought in. And, you know, that the cool thing is that throughout the training, you're going to be able to apply what we're doing in each moment in between each session in your sessions with your clients, and then bring that both into the live session spaces with us. And also you can send messages in the Telegram group in between and, hey, this happened, anyone got any thoughts, da da da. So there's a lot of possibility to navigate and explore what comes up in your sessions and how you can integrate that. And the other piece that I want to speak to is, and you and I have touched on this before, is that there's a body of work in Europe that Jeffrey and I've both trained in, and it really influences this practice as well, called feelings practitioner training. And there's a lot of research that they're doing, and in my experience, evidence for each of our core feelings having a place in our physical bodies that it flows most freely in, that it feeds, that it nourishes. And so, when you talk about, I have people that come to work on their physical bodies, well, like, great, because your emotional body is not separate to your physical body. And it's, Gabriel Mate talks about this. I don't know if you know, some of you might have heard of him, Canadian doctor, that so many illnesses, rheumatoid arthritis, immune system deficiencies, things like this are connected to suppressed emotions. And he talks about specifics around suppressed anger. So being able to have skills to identify and support your clients to feel what they're feeling, and let the feelings be spoken, let the sounds be made while you're working on their body, is, like, to me, it's the magic and the gold of this work. Is because I'm a counselor and a coach, and I have people that come for things like depression, or they want to work, they want to connect to their anger or whatever it is. But inevitably, it's the opposite for me. That pain in the body shows up, and then we're working on the pain in the body, or they might not recognize it because they're so used to the pain, but they're sitting there doing this, and I'm like, oh, what's going on in your shoulder? What if it could make a sound? And then the shoulder starts speaking, and the feeling becomes apparent, and then the pain goes away. And it can be literally as quick as that. And sometimes it's not as quick as that, because it depends what's going on, which is connected to the trauma piece, you're talking about, Tracy, that there is so much physical pain that's held in people's bodies from trauma, and trauma can be from from a car accident where a leg's broken and there's still pain in the body from that. And when we start working with that trauma at an emotional level with the physical body as well, it's incredible what happens, the shifts that happen, the pain that shifts, the lightness that comes into the body, the realignment of structures, the regrowing of bones. Like, there's a whole nother world there. Yeah. That took me off on a little.
So yeah.
Yeah, go.
So the question of, will you be confident to hold space at the end of this training? The honest answer is, it's not guaranteed. It's up to you. It's really up to you how you navigate through the space. And Stacia brought this up, that a lot of the kind of context, the cultural context that we mostly live in, is that when I go to a practitioner, when I go to a doctor, they're gonna do something to me. And so this space is not the space where we're going to do something to you. It's a space where you come in and you're going to navigate your inner worlds, and we're all going to go there together. And you're going to have tons of support, and you're going to have a whole team to work with, and ask for possibilities, and ask for and share your wins and your learnings. And that's at the end, you will be something different, and it will be as different as what you put in, as your commitment to the space. So I don't want to make up some like fantasy about, when you finish this training, you will be ... It's really, you will be whatever you will yourself to be. And my hope is that we create a space where the kind of aliveness will support you blasting off into outer space with this. You go meet Tracy up in the cosmos over there.
But it is a radical shift, like you talked about. This is my training has told me that if I step into this arena, I'm going to be stepping out of my box ethical code of practice. And yes, you will step out of what you've been told you you should be doing with the training that you've done, possibly. But again, that's your choice. And what I see is more what you're doing is you're stepping in, you're not stepping out of an ethical boundary, but you're stepping into a space with practitioners who are choosing to work in a way that creates there's an image. It's like it's gone. I can't find the words.
Well, I have something. Go ahead.
Well, the one thing I want to say is that it's like creating a bridge, like you're becoming a bridge for your clients to walk across, where what you have to offer as an osteopath is not isolated from everything else that's going on in their bodies, and what's going on in the world that impacts what's going on in their bodies. So it creates this unique niche that you're offering to your clients. I don't like this word niche so much; it just comes out of my mouth because it works right now. But yes, it's a gift. It's a gift to add to your practice. Go.
What I want to add is that if you're on a journey and you're ill-equipped for your journey, not ill-equipped, but you find out that you need a tool that you don't currently have, but you can say, well, it's not, nobody gave me this tool, so I guess it's outside of the scope. Or you say, well, fuck, I gotta go make this tool. I gotta go craft it. I gotta, because all these people, they come to me and they have all these things and I don't know what to do about it. It's okay. What am I gonna do about it? Oh, well, that doesn't apply. It's not part of my practice, so forget about it. Or you go and you trailblaze. And then who knows, maybe one day you're standing in front of the osteopathic board of Australia saying, hey, you guys need this. You're missing this.
And I'm here
That's
to
what I'm
deliver
doing.
it for you. As in,
Yeah.
you could say that as well.
Can I just add, with this sort of training, I'm not trying to limit it. It actually makes you into a person who understands themselves as well. And in understanding yourself, you start to understand others even more. That be right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, just opens you up.
So what would be the logistical side of the training in that respect?
What's your specific question about that?
So how often do you meet and what do the sessions look like, etc.?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. So the pilot program is going to go for 3 months. Each month is a specific module. And the cycle for that module will be a 4-hour Saturday afternoon in Australian time from 3 till 7. And then the 4 Wednesday nights, 2.5 hours from 6:30 till 9 on a Wednesday night. And so we'll cycle through that 3 times. Saturday, 4 Wednesdays, Saturday, 4 Wednesdays. So we'll dive deep in to the topic. First up, so we're going to look at the foundations of feelings, which is really jumping into your own experience with feelings. What are the cultures, like what are the stories and narratives that you hold about what feelings are? Because that's going to impact how you connect to your feelings or how you don't connect to your feelings. So, as you said something about needing to let go of one story to let another story, something like that. So it's looking at what are our current stories about what feelings are, how's that limiting you from feeling your feelings, from doing your work, from whatever it is, and starting to work with a new narrative and exploring the core feelings and how they show up in our body. So the foundational stuff. And then we'll go into embodied feelings a little bit deeper, and then how you can start working with that with your clients. And then there's feelings in practice. So they're sort of the 3 modules. And the feelings in practice is deepening more how you bring it into your practice. And you can start that at any time throughout the 3 months. And we'll have a Telegram group, which will open before the training starts, even 2-3 weeks before we start, where you can put questions in. Jeffrey and I will be showing up in there regularly, answering your questions, but it's not about necessarily us just answering your questions. It's a team space. It could be asking for somebody to hold space for you to explore your anger more because you want to do practice in between the sessions, or whatever you want to use that space for, it could be used for that. Yeah. And as far as coming in to the training, there's an application form. I'll send an email with a recording of this video afterwards and a link. There's an application form, and then we have a interview conversation with you. It'll either be with both of us or one of us. And then we start on the 14th of June. They're the high level logistics. I'm aware.
John,
yeah, go.
John Mark talked about the side effect, which is of this, that you're going to really get to know yourself better. And there's another side effect, which is that all of your relationships are gonna be nourished by this. It's really not about your clients only. This will go across the board. Family, partners, children, and one area that I'm particularly my heart feels very close to for whatever reason is with children, and how we show up for children to really usher them into a new culture of humanity and in connection with the emotional body. So, as we go through this training, it's a place to have peers to kind of bounce off how is it going with your clients, but it's also a place to say, hey, I'm having this thing with my partner, or this thing with my son, my daughter. Does anybody have any possibilities, and we'll work on integrating these different tools for how we work together as a team, listening spaces and healing processes. We'll be working all this stuff in, so we have the tools to fly as a team.
So I want to honor our ending time, which is a couple minutes ago now, and just acknowledge that. And I'm happy to stay a little longer if anyone's got questions. But I also just wanted to say thank you for showing up, and for really showing up, like sharing your feelings, bringing your questions, acknowledging that you don't speak up sometimes and doing it anyway. Like, this is what it's all about. And hopefully we see you in the training. And if you've got other questions, just reach out. I'll shoot you an email with the recording, as I said. And if you've got further questions, you can send us an email. Yes, so feel free to go. And if you have questions, feel free to stay. I don't know if that applies to you as well, Jeffrey, if you're open to staying longer. But yeah, great.
I need to head off. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Jackie.
Bye, Jackie.
Thank you, guys. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Much for that.
Thank you, Vicky.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yes. Thank you for everything. I'll say goodbye.
Thanks
Thank you,
so
John
much.
Mark. Bye.
Bye, Stacia. Bye, Jeffrey. Thank you.
Thanks, Emma.
See you, Emma.
And I'm trying to leave also, but I can't find my button. Thank you.
Thanks, Mitra.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
I'm going to press stop on the recording.